Okay, 1-7, absolute value equations and inequalities. Here we go. Amelia is participating in a 60-mile spin-a-thon. However, her spin bike keeps track of the simulated number of miles that she travels. She plans to take a 15-minute break within 5 miles of riding 30 miles. So here's the kicker. We need to write a compound inequality that models the number of miles Amelia spins before taking a break. Okay, here's the kicker. We need to figure out within 5 miles, so it can be less than 30 miles or greater than 30 miles, but it's got to be within 5 miles. So here we go. We know that 30 miles is what she's working with here, okay? So let's put 30 here. We know that 30 is bigger than 5 miles less, which is 25, but it's 5 miles, 5 miles more than 25, or 5 miles less than the maximum, which is going to be 35. So we could say that our break, we'll call that X, is between 25 and 35 miles of spinning. Here's the kicker though, okay? Notice how Amelia spins at a constant speed of 22 miles per hour. So let's figure out how is the number of miles Amelia spins before she takes a break, related to the amount of time before she takes a break. So the more that she spins, the longer that she is going to be spinning. Okay, so the more miles that she spins, the longer that she's going to be spinning. So she could take a least amount of time for a break or a most amount of time for her break. Okay, so let's talk about this here. About how many hours will it take for Amelia to spin before she takes a break? So we'll call this X. Notice how it's 22 miles per hour. So it's 25 over 22 or 35 over 22. So it's in between those hours. So it's a little bit more than an hour or a little bit closer to 2 hours, okay, in between those, essentially, okay? So here we go. As we talk about absolute value, okay, I don't know why that we covered that there, but absolute value. Remember that if I give you guys this as an example, I don't know, -6, okay? There's 2 answers. Whenever I've got a number inside, it always becomes positive, no matter what. Remember that absolute value means distance from 0. Okay, distance from 0. That's important, okay? Your goal is still to get X by itself, but more specifically, we have to get the absolute value part of it first, okay? So there's gonna be 2 answers for this, essentially, okay? When I move the 2 over to this side, I get 5. But notice how this can equal 5. There's 2 answers. It's -5 and +5. Because when I plug in a negative inside, it turns to the positive answer. No need to check it. I'm not asking you guys to check it. It should work true if you found the correct answer. Now, here's the thing. You have to get the absolute value by itself first before you solve for X. So notice here in this problem, the absolute value is already by itself, and we make 2 equations, okay? One where it's equal to +1, and the other one where it's equal to -1. Okay, when we solve for X for both of these, it's equal to 2 and 1. Let's actually go back to this because I forgot to do the try it piece. Oh, never mind. There is no try it piece for this one. Okay. Beep, bop, bop, beep, bop, boop. Okay. Now, how about this? What if there's numbers outside the absolute value? You have to get the absolute value by itself first, and that's what step 1 says. Isolate the absolute value expression. Move everything so that the absolute value is by itself. Then you notice how it's equal to a negative? There's no solution because it can never equal a negative, essentially. Let's actually do all 3 of these to show you guys what we mean by doing all 3 in this ordeal. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to make another whiteboard for you guys. Here we go. 6 is equal to the absolute value of X minus 2. Wow. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Okay, so when I add 2 to both sides, I get 8. 8 equals the absolute value of X, but I have 2 answers. It is 8, and then it's also equal to -8. Okay, again, the absolute value was by itself, and I had 2 answers. Okay, after that. Okay, let's do the next one. 2 times the absolute value of X plus 5 equals 4. You don't distribute. You do not distribute. I'm going to draw a line to separate this. Okay, I'm going to divide by 2 first. And then I'm going to separate into 2 answers, both positive and negative. So without the absolute value, X plus 5 equals 2, and then X plus 5 equals -2. And my 2 answers are -3 and then -7. That's it. All there is to it. Okay, for that one there. Okay, last one. Let's actually pull up a sheet of paper here. Or not a sheet of paper, but rather, come on. Why is this not working? Beep, bop, boop. There we go. Okay, let's do this next one here. Bop, bop, beep. Okay, 3x minus 6 equals 12. So the absolute value of it. Okay, and again, it's already by itself, so let's separate it. 3x minus 6 equals 12, and 3x minus 6 equals -12. So our goal is to get x by itself. Okay, add 6, 3x equals 18. Divide by 3, it's 6. And then the other one, 3x equals -6. X, therefore, is -2. Voila, that's it. All there is to it here. Okay, should cover that there. Okay, as we move on here, let's look at this one here. This one kind of challenges things a little bit, but it's actually not that bad. The cruising speed is 25 miles an hour of Kennedy's boat. She plans to cruise at the speed for the distance shown in the diagram. So she wants to cruise for 80 miles, but plus or minus about 10 miles. So what equation the models the number of hours that Kennedy needs to travel? So she's cruising at 25 miles per hour, and she's going for 80 miles total. She wants to be in between 10 miles. Here's your inequality. Okay, so we have our absolute value equation. Once we get that, we just solve for x after that, which is what they do here. Okay, so it can be positive 10 or negative 10. So it's between 2.8 and 3.6 hours is Kennedy is allowed to travel. So let's talk about this one here. What will be the minimum and maximum time if she now, instead of 25, it's 20? So instead of 25, it's going to be 20. So 20x minus 80 equals 10, same thing, okay? We solve for x for both of them, but there's two answers, okay? 20 minus 80x, or wow, 20x minus 80. Okay, so 20x minus 80 equals 10, but then also, put a 2 right here, make that a little bit better. 20x minus 80 equals -10. Just solve for x for both of them. 20x equals 90. Therefore, it's 90 over 20 hours. Or if I add 80 over here, 20x equals 70. It's going to be 70 over 20 hours, or 7 over 2, or 9 over 2. Your choice. Okay? Now let's talk about inequalities, though. Okay? Inequalities. For this one right here, if x is less than 3, well, we know it's got to be either between 3 and -3. So bing, bang, boom, there you go. Okay? Because the inequality. Now, here's the kicker. Whenever we work with the opposite number, we have to flip the inequality as well. Okay? So notice this. X is greater than 3 or x is less than -3. As long as x is by itself and the x is the opposite, you have to get, now you have to flip the inequality when you're working with the opposite number. So for this one right here, okay, x is greater than 15 or x is less than -15. So here we go. Here's -15, here's 15. Okay, it's got to be bigger than 15 and it's got to be less than -15. Same thing with this one right here. X is less than or equal to 7. X is greater than or equal to -7. So it's got to be bigger than -7, but then less than 7. So greater than -7, less than -7. So it's in between. Not difficult. Not difficult. Okay, very, very, very straightforward. Okay. Okay, this one's, I love these problems, okay? Members of the debate team are traveling to a tournament where they will stay in a hotel for 4 nights. Total cost of each member must be within $20 of $175. Which of the hotels shown can they consider, okay? So there's 4 people total, and they want to pay X amount. They want to be between $20, and they're allowed to spend $175, but within $20. So 4x minus 175, less than or equal to 20. Separate them both. It's got to be between $48.75 and $38.75. So the smallest amount is $38.75. The most is $48.75. Let's do this real quick. Let's say they increase it to $20 plus or minus $20. Can they afford $55? 4 people, okay? So 4x minus 200, it's got to be in between $20. Let's separate it. 4x minus 200 less than or equal to 20, and then 4x minus 200 greater than or equal to negative 20. Okay, get x by itself. 4x less than or equal to 220. X has to be less than or equal to 220 over 4. But it also has to be greater. Let's get x by itself here. Okay, that's 180. And right here, 180 over 4. So it's got to be between 220 over $4 and 180 over $4, okay, for your total. Okay, notice how x is by itself for both of these. You can use a calculator to also give me that amount as well in dollars too. Okay, so that basically concludes everything. Very, very straightforward. That was the last part of the lesson. Okay, that covers all of chapter 1. You have one lesson from chapter 2 that we're doing. So here we go. Good luck. We'll see you in chapter 2.